All right, guys, what's up? This is Will. So today we are breaking down Lemme or Lemme Live. This is Kourtney Kardashian's new gummies and supplement brand. And so today I'm going to be breaking down their email marketing strategy and just a few things before I jump in. So first off, there's a free bonus here. I have a free training that you can go to. You can just click on this link and you can watch a free. There's a 50-minute video we filmed last year going over how to build campaigns. This is exactly how we do it in my agency, Flow Candy. I also give away all the training in there, like the campaign templates, the angles that you can use, and EDS, which is a system you can use to elevate your email design. So we're giving all of that away for free as a free bonus, so you can access that there. Um, Also here, there's the breakdown. So just click on that and you can get um, all of this for free. All of their emails we've scoped out for the past year. And lastly, the playbook that I'm going to go over in this training, you can click that here, and you can see the PowerPoint presentation that I'm going to go through. Um, so with that said, let's jump in. Um, Oh, and lastly, real quick, if you have any questions on this, you can connect with me on LinkedIn. Just click right here. That's my LinkedIn. And if you're interested in working with me, you can book a call right here, and you can schedule a call. Most of you probably uh, will not be interested, but if you are, you like what you hear, you can always book a call here and schedule some time to talk with me and my team. All right, so all that out of the way, let's jump into this. So I'm going to go through this presentation and refer to this breakdown that we did frequently. Um, so first off, at a high level, let's go over some key facts about this brand. So they're doing about 200 to 300,000 visitors a month, which is actually not a lot when you compare it to some of the other Kardashian brands. Um, Skims, for example, we've done a breakdown on them in millions. I mean, I want to say like 10 million a month, maybe. Certainly during peak traffic times like November during Black Friday, I think those are the stats I heard. Obviously, that brand's been around a lot longer, but so not like crazy a lot of not crazy amounts of traffic here for a Kardashian brand. They're doing about 10 campaigns a month. I always like to look at that. Um, some brands, certainly like legacy brands, really struggle to just get one campaign out a month. And then you have um, some of these more fast moving brands, like I just talked about Skims. They're doing about 20 a month. We just did a huge breakdown on Elf, Eyes, Lips, Face, a beauty brand, and they're doing like 30 emails a month, which is remarkable for a brand that is publicly traded, um, has been around for a while. So yeah, I'm always looking to see like how fast their team moves, um, how many campaigns they deploy a month, just the tools they're using. So they're using Klaviyo for their campaigns, for their email flows and automations. I think they might even be using it for their pop up. No, actually, they're using probably Attentive for their pop up, and then Attentive for SMS marketing. I didn't dive so much into the SMS because I just subscribed, but that's what they're using for SMS. Other tools they're using in their retention stack or their lifecycle marketing, email marketing stack, CRM stack, whatever you want to call it. Okendo, this is for their reviews. This is a great app. They're obviously on Shopify, so they're a Shopify store that's using Okendo. They use Rebuy, which is sort of the tool that allows them to upsell and cross sell in the cart, as well as upsell on the subscribe and saves. And they're using Gorgeous. Gorgeous, I think, is how you pronounce it for customer chat. So let's dive into the angles. There's 8 angles they use month after month, week after week sometimes. So these are, and when you go into the free bonus, the campaign strategy school, we talk about this. find the angles that you can rely on every single month, every single week, and just fill that out with in your calendar. That makes planning out a full calendar a lot easier. This is where a lot of brands get stuck because they think they need to like ideate, you know, let's say you want to send 10 campaigns a month like Lemme. So that means you need to send out 120 campaigns in a year. They think they need to go out and ideate and come up with a unique strategy for all 120 of those emails. But no, actually, you really only need to come up with 8 angles, like 8 pillars, 8 themes, and then just plan out that around every month. And I'll dive into that a little bit more here below. So one thing Lemme does, and this is what a lot of brands do, this drives a lot of revenue, is they send promotional campaigns. So think of these as your standard like Black Friday sale, 20% off sale, 35% off sale. We just got through Valentine's Day. We're coming up on Easter. So any promotional stuff you're doing, discounting a lot of the time around certain products or angles or whatnot, this is a promotional email. And already in 2025, I just looked it up through the breakdown. They've sent 10 promotional emails already. 43% of them are promotional. So when I look at their January sends, for example, this is right off the bat, this is a promotional email. This is a promotional email. Extra 20% off with a discount code, New Year 25. This is a promotional email. This is a promote, New Year's sales. Anything with like the discount, it's promotional. And like I said, they're sending 43%. And you know, some brands like shy away from promotional emails. I get it. You don't want to cheapen your products or train your customers to only shop with you when there's a sale. So you know, you have to sort of do the math for your own brand, and that's sort of your own positioning. You know, the flip side of this would be a brand like AG1 or Athletic Greens, where I don't think they ever send a promotion out. So you kind of have to find the balance, but you know, just so you know, a pretty scaled up brand, a more newer brand, but I would say this brand is probably doing, you know, millions and millions and millions of dollars, even with only 200 and 300,000 visitors a month. They're sending these promotional emails. And you see the promotions a little bit more in the supplement space too, especially, and I'm going to jump into this a little later, when it comes to the subscriptions, like saving to get on a subscription. So this is the angle they use the most. 43% is promotional. The next thing they do is product launches. I see this angle a lot in their email marketing. And again, this has a high impact on revenue. And it's pretty self-explanatory. These emails are about when you launch a new product, and you can layer it in. And this is what the really good brands do. They don't just send an email, hey, we're launching a new product. They build hype. They use wait lists like this one here. They just launched this Lemme 2. Are we into let's go look at their Feb emails. So you can see, let me see if I can pull that up. Yeah. So there's join the wait list. Then there's join the wait list again. So they're building hype. And then, or no, this is March. So they launched Lemme Tone. Scroll up to January here. Meet Lemme Tone. So they're doing the wait list. So they're building hype. They're building, I don't know if they send them to like a separate form or like an SMS list. But they're sort of taking their users and they're getting some of their users, email subscribers, to raise their hand and be like, hey, I'm interested in joining the wait list. So and they're building hype. They're sort of showing the product. They're showing what's inside. And then come launch day, they have that list they blasted out. They probably send it to their whole list as well. A lot to take it even another step, where I see some brands really scale here or have success is they lean a little bit more into scarcity. Like it's a special product launch. We only bought 10,000 units or something like that. It's a soft release. They'll even be like, hey, almost sold out. Um, Even different financing options if there's higher average order value. Um, so yeah, that they're doing this a lot. They're obviously a newer brand and they're growing and they're launching more and more products. So it makes sense for them. This is a great way to grow a brand, is just launching more products. And yeah, I think they've sent about 4 so far in 2025 that are just product launches. And so it's about 17% of their emails. So already we're at, just 43, you know, 53, 60% of their emails alone already in 2025 are just promotional and product launches. Now, let's jump in. And again, both of these have high impacts on revenue. Let's jump into some of their other angles that they're using. Not as frequently, but definitely layering it into the calendar. Another one I see a lot is the back in stock campaigns. So these have a medium impact on revenue. They're obviously not going to be as um, they're not going to have as high of an impact on a promotional or a product launch where you can use more scarcity. It's different than a back in stock flow. I get this question asked a lot. So if you don't know what a flow is, it's like an email automation. And here we're talking about campaigns. These are like newsletters, one-time blasts. So this is sort of announcing to the whole list that a product is back in stock, or an engaged list or some sort of segment. A back in stock flow would be anybody who goes to the product page and sees that, for example, Lemme is out of stock and signs up to get a notification. So this is a little bit different. I also see these a lot when stores may not have the back in stock flow set up. It's a little bit complex for new startups. Although a team like Lemme could probably get it deployed. Their site is really well done, so they should have the technical talent to get that implemented. But I will see a lot of some stores do the campaigns instead of the flows. One thing that Lemme does really well is they layer this in with the product launches. So they launch Lemmitone, or they think of their product launch cycle as this. Like with Lemmitone, there's a join the waitlist to launch Lemmitone, to join the waitlist to get notified when Lemmitone launches. Then there's product launches around Lemmitone, so there's campaigns around that. Lemmitone goes out of stock, okay, and then when it comes back in stock after the product launch, they send another back in stock campaign. So that's one way they're sort of mixing this back in stock campaign in with their product launches. Let me see if I can show you. So join the wait list on Lemmitone. January. February, they launched Lemmitone. So Lemmitone is here. And then Lemmitone, so they start the wait list in January. They launch it in February. Lemmitone goes out of stock. And then Lemmitone is back. They just deployed this email in March. So that's a little bit of the timeline and the life cycle of how they're launching these products. They do a really good job here with that. Let's go into the next angle. So this is product focus. So we do this a lot for our clients. You don't want to just be sending promotional campaign all the time. Eventually, the revenue will drop. First off, a lot of these promotional campaigns end up in the promo box, sometimes as spam. So you want to be mixing it in with some education, something that's adding value. These product-based emails are really good. So this is a product-focused one on their biotin product, and again, they're educating their subscribers on biotin. There's no promotion here. They're not even really showing a product here. It's more middle of funnel, top of funnel. So, and they're just sort of educating their list. Let's see if I can find some other ones. Let's see. So this is the one I just talked about. It's more product focused. So they sent that one of those in February. Here's another one in they did a couple of these in January. So I would consider this product focus, or maybe even collection focus, where it's just they're just highlighting. The whole email is about getting smoother skin. Uh, this one's about getting your New Year's resolutions. Sometimes people will call them more content emails too. Um, those work as well. But yeah, so you can see they're layering that in. This is more of a product focused email mixed around the product launch, where it's like they're educating you about the product, but to join the wait list. So they do mix these in a couple times a month. So this is another one. Like again, if you're going back and you can go through this campaign strategy school, you know, when you're trying to build out a campaign calendar, you come back to these angles and you're like, okay, like what, instead of me coming up and trying to, ideate 100 something campaigns in a year, why don't we pick like 5 or 10 angles that we know we're going to use throughout the entire year, and then all we have to do is strategize when we're going to send those. It's a lot easier to map out a campaign calendar. And coming back to them, like with promotional, obviously you can figure out your promotional calendar. Okay, we're going to send something on Valentine's Day, we'll send something on Easter, we'll send something on 4th of July, we'll send something on, and you might find more holidays that are tailored to your brand. Product launches, you can plan that out. You're like, okay, well, in Q1 we're going to launch this, in Q2 we're going to launch that, in Q3 we're not launching anything, in Q4 we're going to launch this. So, and like with Lemme, again, it's like 43% plus 17%. So what did I say? About 60% of their emails are just promotional and product launches. So you could literally plan out 60% of your entire campaign calendar just like that. Now that the percentages change across different brands and stuff, but that's just an extreme example of how I would think about it. Then you start layering in the back in stock. You start layering in the product focused. Another one that we do a lot are these FAQ campaigns. These are great, especially for a brand like Lemme or supplement brands where things get a little bit more complex. It deals with health. There's a little bit more questions. One of the good ones I found was what is GLP-1? I think I saw this. Was it in January? Maybe not. Let's zoom out. Maybe it's December. I don't know where that email was. I think it's right here. It's be October. I can't find it, but they had a great email on just like what is GLP-1? Oh, here it is, right here. I actually took a screenshot of it. It's kind of a confusing term, GLP-1. This is sort of the weight loss stuff. I think it's similar to Ozempic. It's like an Ozempic tube. Don't quote me on that. I'm not an expert, but these are great because it's confusing. It's a GLP. Um, I think it's a vitamin, or I don't know if this one's a gummy, but again, the goal of these types of emails is to just answer questions that people might have that are on the fence about your product. If you don't know what questions to put in there, go look at your customer reviews. Go look at your customer reviews on a product, and go turn those into questions. Or if you sell on Amazon, there's an FAQ section on Amazon where especially if you're a power seller there, there'll be a lot of FAQs, and you can turn those into FAQ stuff. The segmentation, people ask me about segmentation. So you definitely want to send this to people who are on the fence, kind of. They're what we call false starts. Maybe they start at checkout, view the product. but have not purchased a particular product yet. That would be like if you're more advanced, but you can also just send this to prospects or anybody who is engaged. And again, they come back and layer this with their product launches. I think I just showed you an example of that. If you go back to, what is it, February? They had it was January. Lemme, yeah. So join the wait list. So what's in it? Sort of, giving like that. I would consider this an FAQ block in an email. So again, you can layer this across different. You can sort of like mix these angles sometimes too. That's what really good email marketing teams will do as well. So that's the FAQ. Another one I told you was the subscribe and save. This one has medium impact on sales, and it specifically works well for anybody that's watching this that sells supplements or is in beauty and has that subscription option on their site. A lot of these stores will give you a discount or some sort of special offer for becoming a subscriber. If you're totally new to this, why would they do that? Typically a subscriber, someone who's on an active subscription, their lifetime value. So this is basically a KPI around how much money that customer will spend over their lifetime. Most brands want a higher lifetime value. So the difference between the average lifetime value of someone that's on a subscription and someone who's never been on a subscription is remarkable sometimes. That at least in my experience, working with brands. So typically these brands that have customers on a subscription, I've seen their lifetime value double or triple. If you think Lemmy's lifetime, let's just off the cuff here, let's just say Lemmy's lifetime value is $100. Okay. That's their entire lifetime value of every single customer they've had. I wouldn't be surprised if you went into a deeper cohort on that around anybody who's been on a subscription, it would be like 200, 300. And again, I don't know their numbers. I'm just sort of riffing off my experience. But with that said, that's why they send out these subscribe and save emails to try to encourage people to get on a subscription. Now, the brands especially the supplement brands that I've seen do this the best, they tend to really know their customer journey, and they tend to really care about their customers as well. So they tend to have a worldview that their customers need their product and they need to get onto some sort of health routine, and getting on a subscription will ensure you don't fall off your health routine. So I see that a lot. I saw this in their marketing a little bit too. Again, you can layer it in with the promos and the product launches. And one thing that brands need to really figure out if they're doing subscribe and save emails is they need to build segmentation that excludes people that are already on an active subscription. So what I mean by that is you don't want to send, hey, subscribe and save to people that are already on a subscription. All right. So most of these modern subscription apps that work with Shopify have a Klaviyo integration where you can do this really easily. Recharge is probably the one I've worked with the most, and you can easily, build logic in the segment builder that tracks people that are on an active subscription, or even people that are churned, like they were on a subscription but they're no longer. Those can be often valuable segments as well. So whenever you deploy those campaigns, you definitely want to have that active subscriber list built out and exclude those on any campaigns. Okay, so another thing they do really well is these collabs. And again, they layer it in with their product launch. I loved how they did this. They're like, we're going to do a product launch. Basically, we're going to do a product launch on the Lemme Tone. We're going to have a wait list. We're going to launch it. We're going to then do FAQ campaigns. We're going to then, when the product goes out of stock, we'll do a back in stock campaign. And also, we're going to line up a collab or like a joint venture with another brand to promote this. And these are great. These joint ventures are a great way to build your list. Basically, what happens is when you do these collaborations, it's like you agree to partner with another brand that's sort of adjacent to you or in a similar has a similar customer base to you, and you'll promote their brand and they'll promote your brand. So it's a win-win. So Lemme is, Barry, I guess this is Barry's Boot Camp. So you can go and get a Barry's Boot Camp Lemme Tone Shake when you're there. And Lemme is now promoting people to go to the Barry's Boot Camp. And then Barry's Boot Camp will probably, I haven't looked at their email list, but I would imagine they're doing some marketing material, whether it's ads or emails around Lemme, the new Lemme Barry's shake, and so it's driving awareness for Lemme too. Um, and this is like a playbook that has been tried and true. You see all other like scale brands doing this. Dr. Squatch is one e-commerce brand I see do this a lot. They're partnering with Star Wars and all sorts of stuff. Elf, we like I said, we just did a huge breakdown on Elf. They just did a joint venture with Liquid Death, or a collab with Liquid Death. Um, and you see it even outside of e-commerce. Think about or Disney buying Marvel. Like now they can sort of Disney gets access to Marvel's customer base, and they can then promote all these Marvel movies to their. Disney's been around for years and it's a huge scale brand. You're seeing it. You see it in music a lot too. Just think of like Little Nas and Billy Ray Cyrus. Doing a JV, or a collab, is bringing two entirely different segments together. And there's lots of I like the Jay-Z and Alicia Keys New York song is another one that comes to mind, or Aerosmith and Run DMC if you're a little older, the Walk This Way collaboration. So I mean, like this playbook works in all sorts of mediums, and you really see one thing I've noticed is the Kardashians do this better than anybody. Skims is like the collab machine. They they are like doing collabs weekly. They're also doing deals with these. It's like collaborations with celebrities. They're doing like product lines with these celebrities, where I think these celebrities will get some sort of rev share deal, and this takes months to plan out in advance because you're talking about mixing in inventory with the collaboration. Um, Skims is probably one of the best I've seen. Like I said, Dr. Squatch does a really good job too. Um, so that's collabs. And then the last one I see, and I loved seeing this. I loved when I saw this. So this is a text-based email. Um, a lot of really brands that have a very elevated design style. They're like, we don't want to do text-based. No, no, no. That's not in our brand book. But let me tell you, these campaigns are so great. First off, they have a high impact on sales, especially if they're mixed in with a promotion or a product launch. Um, they tend to work really well because what people don't realize is these emails actually have a higher inbox placement. So I haven't talked much about that. But what a lot of people don't realize is that when you send these heavily designed and styled emails, they tend to show up in the promotions tab or sometimes the spam tab. Brands tend to spend too much time on design and they heavily weight these. There's a lot of images and the file size is really big, and sometimes that sends them into spam. Sometimes it's just the images themselves. You have to click display images for these images to show up with some inbox providers. So they don't always show up like this originally. But text-based, they tend to be smaller in file size. They tend to get through the promo and get through spam filters easily. And then another thing that no one really talks about on the beauty with the text-based emails is they're so easy to deploy. You don't need to bring in your designer and your copywriter and your developer and all this stuff, and you don't need to go through this huge quality control process. A lot of times, you can just have I mean, anybody can build it. If you can type an email, you can build a text-based email. So they're really, really easy and fast to deploy. Um, and I saw this, especially in Black Friday, they sent this. And again, it probably took somebody 10 minutes to create this email, maybe even less. So really, really loved the text-based email and seeing that. Okay, so that concludes the breakdown. Again, I have all of their emails if you want to go and look at it. We have documented since January 2024. And then again, don't forget to get our free campaign strategy school, where I go way deeper on some of this stuff that I just talked about and give you some tips, some tools to actually implement in your own brand. And then, like I said, if you if this interests you and you're like, hey, I like this, but I don't have time to do this, go ahead and book a call with me and my team, and we'll show you how you could get this done, how you could hire someone to do this, whether it's with us or somebody else. It could be a freelancer, it could be another agency. We'll be clear. We'll be sure to get you clear on what you need to do and what sort of what's in your budget or in sort of the team that you need to hire. And then if you want to stay updated on the next time we do one of these breakdowns, just subscribe to our newsletter. We do send emails out normally every time we do these. So if you want to stay up to date, and again, we're breaking down brands every month, sometimes multiple ones. So if you want to stay in touch on the next breakdown, just go ahead and subscribe. Thanks again for watching. I will see you on the next breakdown.